play and call it work.
Hey everybody, Matthew here from MiniWarGaming.com, and here in this video I want to tell you the story of how Augustine's station became Augustine's Wreckage. If you're unfamiliar with Augustine's station, it was our very first Deathwatch narrative campaign that we did quite a while ago, which featured a group of Deathwatch Marines going in to try to take down the Governor Leodova and to find the Jewels of Ymir, which are some ancient alien artifacts. There's a lot to it, and not a lot of that is very important. All you need to know is that at that time, Augustine Station was home to tens of millions of humans and Xenos. It was a humongous station, and it was a black market located just outside of the Imperium's influence, always left alone by the Imperium because it wasn't quite enough of a threat. And to be honest, there was lots of Inquisitors who loved to go there to hunt criminals or to gather information for whatever it is that they were trying to complete. And so the Dark Eldar loved it because the planet of Augustine that it orbited was a death world full of dangerous monsters and beasts. It had a very minimal population. They had a few stations set up that they would go down there, they would capture beasts and bring it back for their gladiatorial pits. The orcs loved it, the pirates loved it, because it was a great staging point for raids. And the reason they never bothered to actually raid the station itself is, one, because Leodova had a pretty good standing force of military, and also because he provided them everything they needed. He provided them a great trading post so they can get their big guns and to trade any loot that they got. He provided them a great staging point. He provided them the entertainment in the gladiatorial pits and lots of violent things that would keep them occupied. He essentially made it so that the station was more valuable to them in one piece than it was raided. And he basically kept all the Xenos and humans in check, and by bribing them, by providing them a great place for the black market. And when that failed, if you remember the Jewels of Ymir, that they could take over bodies with the ancient alien essence, he would do that and infiltrate those into societies to then influence those to keep them all in order. Well, if you watched the narrative campaign, you know that Leodova was removed from office. He had managed to keep peace for hundreds of years, and all of a sudden, there was a big power vacuum. And unrest quickly escalated to all-out fighting amongst the factions, both on the station and in orbit amongst the fleets. It eventually even hit a tipping point where all the fleets were engaging each other in full-out war, trying to destroy each other over the remains of the station and all the bounty and the booty that would be in there. In the process of all this, the station was damaged and couldn't remain in orbit. Some of the engines, some of the station-keeping engines were damaged, and it ended up crashing onto the planet of Augustine. Now, thankfully, it was a controlled descent, a controlled crash. It wasn't just plummeting down like an asteroid, because if that had happened, it would have totally been destroyed, everybody would have been killed, and the planet itself probably would have entered an ice age. But there was enough of a controlled descent that there was a lot of damage done to the station. When it crashed, there's pieces of it that got spread for hundreds of miles, and amongst them, of course, some of the ships that crashed when they were destroyed in orbit. But a lot of people still survived. Millions of people were killed, of course, but a lot survived. And in the current state, we're looking at years that have passed since that crash happened. Those who could escape mostly already have. The connection to the rest of the galaxy is mostly lost. People don't come by to trade anymore because there really isn't anything to trade with. It's no longer a really good launching place for pirates. So it doesn't see very much contact with the rest of the galaxy, except maybe the occasional Dark Eldar raid or Orc pirate raid. And all the fleets in orbit have pretty much been obliterated, or they have left at this point. And so there's really not much left there to do. The factions have all kind of broken off and developed into smaller factions, and they fight over territories. But all-out war is no longer a thing, because now everybody is fighting for survival. Some want to leave, some want to build up their glory and their money so that they can eventually scavenge together some sort of ship that they could then leave. Others love it. It's their opportunity. They've always been oppressed. They've never been able to get rich. And now you got people in these seats of power they've just been these little lordlings over their own little areas. Either way, small gangs and war bands roam around looking for valuable loot. And you're talking about Xenos ones, you have orcs, you've got Dark Eldar, you've even got Admech there, you've got lots of humans and other Xenos species that we don't even really know the names of. Huge sections of the station are not inhabited due to many factors, such as Some of them just being destroyed, others being totally flooded, others being radioactive because of damaged reactors. Some are deep, deep underground. When the station landed, it kind of penetrated the crust, and some sections are really, really deep underground and dark and out of the way. Some are just far away from where civilization has kind of forced themselves back together. In some areas, some of those nasty beasts have gotten loose. And if you watch the Death Watch narrative campaign, you know that there was some even Tyranid creatures that the Dark Eldar were trading in, and some of those got loose. And so who knows what is infesting the various areas of Augustine's wreckage. Now, over the course of these years, some markets have sprung up, kind of neutral territories where everybody has agreed to some point, not really out loud, it's just an understanding that when you go to those markets, you don't fight each other. And so this whole place is a post-apocalyptic area of survival of all sorts of different xenospecies that'll make a great setting for our Armageddon/Necromunda narrative campaign that has started today. You can click the links in the video description below to go and watch the 3 games, which are all available for free. You do not have to be a Vault member in order to see all the missions that are out today. And in the first game, we're going to talk about how you can actually watch the rest of the narrative campaign for free just by signing up for a free trial of the MiniWarGaming Vault as well. So go ahead and click the links below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.